In a moment that fans are calling too emotional to be a coincidence, BTS's Jungkook has been spotted in what appears to be a completely unannounced visit to the rehearsal venue of Jin's much-anticipated solo world tour, Run Seekjin EP Tour. The sighting has sparked a storm of speculation online, with trending hashtags like hashtag Jungkook reunion and hashtag what is Jungkook planning flooding social media. But behind the screams and blurry airport photos, something deeper may be unfolding. Something far more emotional than anyone expected. On June 20th, 2025, just a week before Jin takes the global stage solo for the very first time, staff members at the Goyang Auxiliary Stadium were reportedly left in tears after a private visit from Jungkook. According to several anonymous sources from within the tour's production team, Jungkook entered quietly during Jin's vocal run-through of Epiphany, a song already renowned for reducing audiences to silence, and stood in the wings, watching. He didn't interrupt. He didn't speak. But when Jin finished, the youngest member of BTS walked out, clapped slowly, and gave his Hyung a hug that reportedly lasted longer than the song itself. This rare interaction, which took place without cameras or official media coverage, has ignited speculation. Is Jungkook secretly following the tour route? Was this just a one-time visit to support his elder brother, or a symbolic gesture of something bigger? Fans who caught a glimpse of Jungkook at Gimpo Airport 2 days prior are now connecting the dots, suggesting that his quiet movements were never about personal errands or overseas engagements. Instead, they believe he's moving in sync with Jin, not as a performer, but as a silent guardian. Those close to the BTS circle suggest the relationship between Jin and Jungkook has deepened significantly post-military service. While BTS members have always been close, insiders say that the period of separation due to enlistment, coupled with their individual solo journeys, brought a new kind of emotional maturity and understanding among the group. Jungkook, who has faced his own challenges with privacy invasions and pressure since his solo debut with Seven, may see in Jin's tour a moment of healing for both of them. The emotional weight of this meeting is hard to ignore. Staff described the rehearsal atmosphere as electric and silent, a phrase rarely used together, and one that perfectly captures the surreal energy of seeing one global superstar quietly support another, off stage, out of sight, but very much present. Some members of the production team reportedly had to step out, overcome with tears, after witnessing the interaction. Could Jungkook be joining parts of the tour secretly, not to perform, but to anchor Jin in a world that can so quickly become isolating? Could his presence be a private gift, a brotherhood gesture from the golden magne to the eldest Hyung, who once carried the weight of the group's emotions during their early, struggling years? The fan theories are multiplying. Some believe Jungkook may make an unexpected appearance during one of Jin's US stops, perhaps in Chicago or Newark, where security and logistics allow more flexibility. Others argue that his support will remain unseen, symbolic, and profoundly meaningful, embodying the kind of bond that doesn't need to be performed to be real. Whether this is a carefully hidden plan or a spontaneous show of love, one thing is certain: Jungkook's appearance has added another layer of emotional depth to Jin's already iconic solo journey. It's not just a tour anymore. It's a shared memory in the making. Whispers from the backstage suggest that this may not be a one-time gesture. Rumors among concert crew and close industry insiders hint that Jungkook has requested an anonymous pass to stay off the official guest list during multiple stops on the Run Seekjin EP tour. If true, it would mean he's not just making a single emotional visit. He may be quietly following Jin across cities, from Goyang to Osaka, from Chicago to Amsterdam. Fans are already theorizing that we might be witnessing the beginning of an unseen documentary in the making, not about performances, but about brotherhood and emotional resilience. This has sparked renewed interest in their past interactions. Devoted ARMY members are now revisiting older behind-the-scenes footage where Jungkook, still a teenager, looked up to Jin with wide-eyed admiration. From late-night ramen sessions in dorm kitchens to silent glances across massive stadiums, their dynamic has always carried an undertone of subtle loyalty, often overshadowed by louder pairings within BTS. Now, as both men mature into their solo careers, this quiet bond appears to be re-emerging with powerful emotional clarity. Jin, who has largely remained composed and professional during his solo launch, is said to have broken into a rare smile that lasted for minutes after Jungkook's visit. "It was like seeing family again after being alone for too long," said a crew member. "You could feel something shift in the room. We all felt it." What adds even more mystery to this story is the fact that Jin has remained completely silent about Jungkook's visit. No Instagram story. No beberse mention. Nothing. And that silence is perhaps louder than any post. It suggests that whatever passed between them was meant to be private, sacred, a reminder that not every emotion must be broadcast to the world to be real. And yet, the world is watching. Media outlets across Korea and the international K-pop scene have scrambled to verify the reports, but Big Hit Music has neither confirmed nor denied Jungkook's backstage presence. This silence has only fueled speculation, with fans pointing to Jin's choice of rehearsal outfits and subtle gestures, like the noticeable extra pause he took before starting Epiphany during the final run-through, as potential signs of Jungkook's impact. Meanwhile, online communities are buzzing with discussion. Is this how BTS begins to reunite? Not with a grand announcement, but with quiet visits and emotional nods? Could Jungkook's presence be the start of a new, unspoken narrative, one that places emotion, not promotion, at the heart of BTS's evolution? If so, it's a powerful statement that even in an industry known for spectacle, the most meaningful moments can still happen off stage, in shadows, between brothers who don't need cameras to prove their love. As Jin prepares to open his tour in Goyang, fans are now watching not just the stage, but the wings. They're not just listening to the music, but looking for a certain silhouette in the dark, the one who already had his moment and now quietly returns, not as a performer, but as a protector. And in a world where every move is often choreographed for attention, this might be the most sincere step Jungkook has taken. Is it a reunion in disguise? Or is it the beginning of something even more intimate? A story between two men who once walked side by side and now choose to walk behind each other without ever needing the spotlight. Only time, and maybe another quiet airport sighting, will tell. Just days after the sighting in Goyang, fans at Incheon International Airport captured a blurred yet unmistakable figure in the late hours of the evening. The man, clad in muted tones with a familiar gait, wore a cap pulled low, hoodie drawn, and moved with deliberate subtlety. Despite the disguise, many are convinced it was Jungkook. But where was he headed next? The internet quickly exploded with speculations. Was he en route to Osaka, the second stop of Jin's Run Seek Janipi tour? Or perhaps flying to Chicago ahead of time to prepare something? A surprise duet? An unannounced on-stage reunion? Or maybe, and most heartbreakingly, he was just trying to hold on to something, a moment, a person, a feeling before everything moves on. What is clear is that this isn't about press coverage or promotional strategy. Jungkook isn't showing up to be seen. He's showing up to feel. Insiders suggest that this pattern of silent following may be a form of emotional healing for Jungkook, who in recent months has dealt with intense pressure, from sacing invasions to obsessive public scrutiny of his every move. After his military discharge, many expected an immediate explosion of solo projects and comeback campaigns. Instead, he chose this: quiet support, gentle shadows. Following his Hyung not with a camera crew, but with respect and raw emotion, observers who were present during the Goyang rehearsals have revealed more since. One staff member noted that Jungkook didn't speak much. He didn't need to. When Jin rehearsed The Astronaut, a song co-written with Coldplay that had symbolized their connection across continents, Jungkook reportedly stood behind the curtain with his head lowered, not in sadness, but in silent pride. When the music ended, he clapped. Not for the fans, not for the press, just for Jin. No words were exchanged in public. But when Jin exited the stage, he placed a hand briefly on Jungkook's shoulder, just once, before walking past. That single gesture, observers say, carried the weight of 1,000 conversations. This moment, fleeting and undocumented by official cameras, has taken root in the hearts of fans. Fan art, fiction, and emotional breakdowns have flooded the online space. Not because they need Jungkook and Jin to be a duo again, but because they now see the depth of love that has always lived beneath BTS's synchronized perfection. And it raises the question, in a group as legendary as BTS, can the most powerful stories be the ones we're not meant to see? This ongoing series of quiet appearances has now earned its own fan-given name, the Silent Tour. Some believe Jungkook will follow Jin to every stop, not as a performer, but as a guardian. Some suspect this is his way of reconnecting with his own roots, grounding himself through the person who once helped guide his early days in the group. Others believe this is more than emotional, that something big is coming. A subunit? A surprise track? A documentary of raw, behind-the-scenes footage capturing their shared growth? No one knows for sure. And perhaps that's the point, because in a time when everything is live-streamed, when every second is curated, there's something revolutionary about simply being there, quietly, lovingly, off-stage. So when fans chant Jin's name in Osaka, Chicago, or London, a part of them will also be listening for another name, not announced but deeply present, Jungkook, not as a superstar, but as a brother, as a witness, as the heart of a story still unfolding, one quiet city at a time. And as the days pass and the Run Seekjin EP tour begins its breathtaking journey around the globe, more and more whispers ripple through the fan community. Photos surface, not of stage lights or crowds, but of shadows in the wings. A glimpse of someone in a hoodie near the sound booth in Osaka. A figure with a camera around his neck in the VIP zone in Chicago, never turning to face the crowd. Always there. Never confirmed. In Tampa, fans claim they saw Jin smile mid-performance, not at the audience, but at someone off stage. In London, one sharp-eyed fan recorded a faint voice harmonizing with Jin during the final chorus of Moon. It wasn't on the track. It wasn't planned, but it was there. And it sounded achingly familiar. Theories flourish. Is Jungkook secretly recording each stop for a future documentary, preserving not just Jin's journey, but his own healing process? Is this a silent farewell to the anonymity he once had? Or is this the beginning of something more intimate than an album, an unspoken promise to never let the bond between brothers fade beneath the bright lights of fame? What makes this all the more powerful is that it's not choreographed. No agency statement, no media blitz, no YouTube teaser, just quiet truth, observed only by those who choose to look a little closer. Fans who've been with BTS since the early days remember how Jin was the first to guide Jungkook when he arrived in Seoul as a nervous, teenage trainee. How Jin would cook for him, tease him, protect him. How Jungkook used to call Jin Hyung, the big brother who mothered him. That bond, long obscured by schedules and solos and global tours, now feels reborn in this unspoken pilgrimage in Amsterdam, where the tour will end on August 30th. Many believe the silence will finally break. Fans speculate that Jungkook may step out of the shadows, not as a performer, but as a voice, delivering perhaps a letter, a song, or even just a few words on what this journey has meant to him. Not just for Jin, but for himself. Because while the world sees the fame, the fortune, the headlines, behind it all is a man rediscovering what made him fall in love with music in the first place. A man learning to breathe again after years of living under a microscope. A man who doesn't need center stage to shine. And maybe, just maybe, we've all misunderstood what this moment is really about. Jungkook isn't following Jin's tour. He's following his own heart. And somewhere between the screams of fans and the stillness of backstage, between the glitz of stardom and the quiet of brotherhood, that heart is finding its rhythm again. So, if you're lucky enough to attend one of these shows, don't just watch the stage. Look to the shadows. Listen closely to the pauses. Because in those in-between moments, you might just catch the real story. The one that doesn't need a spotlight. The one that has always lived in silence. The story of a golden magne who never left. He just chose a different way to be seen.